All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for maintaining better balance between economy and ecology and climate sustainable lifestyle at 16th East Asia Summit, also to attend Asean India Summit today. Prime Minister to embark on a 5-day visit to Italy and UK tonight to attend G20 Summit and World Leaders Summit of COP26. India denounces China's land boundary laws, says unilateral decision can adversely impact bilateral ties. India successfully test fires surface-to-surface ballistic missile Agni 5. Government to launch mega door-to-door vaccination drive Har Ghar Dastak next month to speed up COVID inoculation. India's vaccination coverage crosses 104 crore mark, recovery rate improves to 98.19%. Finance Ministry asks all ministries to clear Air India's dues. And in T20 World Cup cricket, Sri Lanka to take on Australia in their Super 12 match in Dubai this evening. As India created history by administering more than 100 crore doses of vaccine against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festive season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing. And focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in details. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the 16th East Asia Summit yesterday via video conference. It was hosted by Brunei and saw the participation of leaders from the ASEAN countries and Australia, China, Japan, South Korea, Russia, the US and India. This was the 7th East Asia Summit attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In his remarks at the summit, the Prime Minister reaffirmed the importance of East Asia Summit as the premier leaders-led forum in the Indo-Pacific, bringing together nations to discuss important strategic issues. Mr. Modi highlighted India's efforts to fight the COVID-19 pandemic through vaccines and medical supplies. He also spoke about Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign for post-pandemic recovery and in ensuring resilient global value chains. The Prime Minister emphasized on maintaining a better balance between economy and ecology and climate-sustainable lifestyle. The summit also discussed important regional and international issues including the Indo-Pacific, South China Sea, UNCLOS, terrorism and the situation in Korean Peninsula and Myanmar. Mr. Modi reaffirmed ASEAN centrality in the Indo-Pacific and highlighted the synergies between ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific and India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. The East Asia Summit EAS leaders adopted 3 statements on mental health, economic recovery through tourism and sustainable recovery, which have been co-sponsored by India. Overall, the summit saw a fruitful exchange of views between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other EAS leaders. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the 18th ASEAN India Summit to be held virtually today at the invitation of Sultan of Brunei. The summit will be attended by heads of state and heads of government of the ASEAN countries. ASEAN India Summits are held annually and provide opportunity for India and ASEAN to engage at the highest level. Our correspondent reports that Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the 17th ASEAN India Summit held virtually in November last year, and this will be the 9th ASEAN India Summit to be attended by him.
The 18th ASEAN-India Summit will review the status of ASEAN-India strategic partnership. It will take stock of progress made in key areas including COVID-19 and health, trade and commerce, connectivity, as well as education and culture. Besides, important regional and international developments including post-pandemic economic recovery will also be discussed. ASEAN-India strategic partnership stands on a strong foundation of shared geographical, historical and civilizational ties. ASEAN is central to India's Act East policy and the wider vision of the Indo-Pacific. The year 2022 will mark 30 years of ASEAN-India relations. India and ASEAN have several dialogue mechanisms which meet regularly, including a summit, ministerial meetings and senior officers meetings. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 5-day visit to Italy and the United Kingdom tonight to attend the 16th G20 Summit and the World Leaders Summit of COP26. During the first leg of his visit, Mr. Modi will reach Rome to participate in the G20 summit from 30th to 31st of this month at the invitation of Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi. The summit will be attended by heads of state of G20 member countries, the European Union and other invited countries and international organizations. Mr. Modi will also hold several bilateral meetings, including with the Prime Minister of Italy on the sidelines. Following this, Prime Minister Modi will leave for Glasgow to attend the World Leaders Summit of the 26th Conference of Parties, COP26, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. COP26 is being held from 31st of this month to 12th of next month under the presidency of the UK, partnering with Italy. The high-level segment of COP26 titled The World Leaders Summit will be held on 1st and 2nd of next month. It will be attended by heads of state of more than 120 countries. COP26 was originally slated to be held in 2020 but was deferred to 2021 in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Modi will also hold several bilateral meetings on the sidelines of COP26, including with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. A report.
The grouping of the world's 20 major economies has emerged as premier global forum for international economic cooperation, and this will be the 8th G20 summit that Prime Minister Modi will be attending. This summit under the Italian presidency is centered around the theme People, Planet, Prosperity. It focuses on the areas of recovery from the pandemic and the strengthening of global health governance, economic recovery and resilience, climate change and energy transition, and sustainable development and food security. India is scheduled to host the G20 summit in 2023 for the first time. At COP26 in Glasgow, the parties will work to achieve the completion of Paris Agreement implementation guidelines, the mobilization of climate finance, actions to strengthen climate adaptation, technology development and transfer, and keeping in reach the Paris Agreement goals of limiting the rise in global temperatures. The periodic conference of parties to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change have emerged as global climate summits, providing an opportunity for stock-taking and for charting the way forward. Divakar, AIR News, Delhi.
In an exclusive interview with AIR News on India's stand at COP26 with regard to reduction of carbon emission, environmentalist Dr. C.K. Varshney said, India has given a proposal, One Sun, One World, One Grid, and the proposal needs global financing.
India has been very, very straightforward and taking very forward-looking decisions. We have got Global Alliance, which ultimately also got the UN, approval. And for that, India has also proposed One Sun, One World, One Grid. Now, this kind of an proposal is something which requires commitment from the countries. For this, as it will have a great impact in reducing carbon emission.
India has expressed concern at China's unilateral decision to bring about a legislation which can have implications on existing bilateral arrangements on border management as well as on the boundary question. In response to media queries, the External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said such a unilateral move will have no bearing on the arrangements that both sides have already reached earlier, whether it is on the boundary question or for maintaining peace and tranquility along the LAC in India-China border areas. He said, India also expects that China will avoid undertaking action under the pretext of this law, which could unilaterally alter the situation in the India-China border areas. Mr. Bagchi said, India is aware that China has passed a new land boundary law on the 23rd of this month. The law states, among other things, that China abides by treaties concluded with or jointly acceded to by foreign countries on land boundary affairs. It also has provisions to carry out reorganization of districts in the border areas. Surface-to-surface ballistic missile Agni-5 was successfully launched from APJ Abdul Kalam Island in Odisha yesterday. Agni-5 is capable of striking targets at ranges up to 5,000 kilometers with very high degree of accuracy. It uses a 3-stage solid-fueled engine. The successful launch is in line with India's policy to have credible minimum deterrence that underpins the commitment to no first use.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the government is focused on enhancing combat capability and ensuring welfare of soldiers. He reiterated that there are no budgetary constraints for capability development and meeting other requirements of the Army. He was addressing the senior leadership of the Indian Army during Army Commanders Conference. The Army Commanders Conference, an apex-level biannual event, is being held in New Delhi from 25th to 28th of this month. Commenting on the current situation along the northern borders, Rajnath Singh expressed full confidence that while the troops are standing firm, the ongoing talks for peaceful resolution of crisis will continue. Mr. Singh said that it is national responsibility to ensure availability of best weapons, equipment and clothing to our troops braving extreme weather and hostile forces to defend the country's territorial integrity. Referring to the situation along the western borders, the Defence Minister complimented the Indian Army's response to cross-border terrorism. He appreciated excellent synergy between the CAPF and police forces and the Army in tackling the menace of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir.
The rise of serious threats such as terrorism, piracy, drug trafficking and climate change have thrown new challenges for our Indo-Pacific region. The nature of these challenges in the region has considerably translational implications which require a cooperative response. Therefore, a need to find convergence of interests and commonality of purpose on maritime issues.
President Ram Nath Kovind will be on a 3-day visit to Gujarat from today. He will inaugurate a housing scheme project for economically weaker sections at Bhavnagar and will visit Shri Chitrakoot Dham, ashram of Murari Babu as Talgar Jarda, Bhavnagar district.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for maintaining better balance between economy and ecology and climate sustainable lifestyle at 16th East Asia Summit, also to attend Asean India Summit today. Prime Minister to embark on a 5-day visit to Italy and UK tonight to attend G20 Summit and World Leaders Summit of COP26. India denounces China's land boundary law, says unilateral decision can adversely impact bilateral ties. India successfully test fires surface-to-surface ballistic missile Agni-5. Government to launch mega door-to-door vaccination drive Har Ghar Dastak next month to speed up COVID inoculation. India's vaccination coverage crosses 104 crore mark. Recovery rate improves to 98.19%. Finance Ministry asks all ministries to clear Air India's dues. And in T20 World Cup cricket, Sri Lanka to take on Australia in their Super 12 match in Dubai this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर आकाशवाणी समाचार के कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में बृहस्पतिवार को शाम 4:45 पर सुनिए देश की आजादी में अपना अमूल्य योगदान देने वाले भारतीय स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के सेनानियों की वीर गाथा।
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मात नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं,
Health Minister Mansukh Mandaviya interacted with the health ministers of the states and UTs at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi yesterday. The meeting discussed ramping up of COVID-19 vaccination drive and also PM Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, which was launched on Monday. Talking to media after the meeting, the health minister said that the government is going to launch a mega vaccination campaign, Har Ghar Dastak, with a view to speed up COVID-19 vaccination drive. Under the campaign for the next 1 month, healthcare workers in all the states will visit door to door to vaccinate people eligible for the second dose and also those who have not taken the first dose. Mr. Mandaviya said that 48 districts of the country have also been identified where the vaccination of first dose is less than 50% of the eligible population. Under this campaign, the focus will be on speeding up COVID-19 vaccination drive. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed the 104 crore mark yesterday. A total of 104 crore 8 lakh COVID doses have been administered in the country so far. Out of the total vaccination, more than 72 crore 50 lakh doses have been given as the first dose, while over 31 crore 57 lakh doses were administered as the second dose. According to the Union Health Ministry, more than 48 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. Meanwhile, more than 13,000 new cases were reported during the last 24 hours. India's active caseload stands at 1,62,661, which is the lowest in the last 242 days. The recovery rate is currently at 98.19%, highest since March last year.
Finance has directed all ministries and departments of central government to clear pending dues of Air India and purchase tickets from this airline in cash. The direction came after Air India stopped extending credit facility on purchase of air tickets. The Government of India has decided to disinvest Air India, and the process of disinvestment of Air India and Air India Express is ongoing. The government has signed a share purchase agreement with Tata Sons for strategic disinvestment of the national carrier Air India. Earlier, Telis Private Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Tata Group, had emerged as the successful bidder for Air India with a bid of 18,000 crore rupees. BJP today criticized Congress over Pegasus issue and alleged that the party is spreading lies on the matter. Talking to media in New Delhi, party spokesperson Sambit Patra said neither Congress nor its leader Rahul Gandhi had gone to court over the issue. He said the government had given an affidavit demanding an expert committee to look into the matter, and the Apex Court has accepted it. Terming Pegasus issue as manufactured controversy, he alleged that Mr. Gandhi is spreading lies over the issue.
जहां तक राहुल गांधी और कांग्रेस पार्टी का सवाल है, विडंबना यह है कि राजनीति में उनकी इंटरेस्ट है नहीं, तो किस प्रकार से दूर खड़े होकर केवल भ्रम की राजनीति करना और देश में एक झूठे नैरेटिव को फ्लोट करना, वैमनस्यता पैदा करना, यह प्रयास कांग्रेस पार्टी और राहुल गांधी जी की हर विषय में रही है। और हर विषय में भारतीय जनता पार्टी को वो कितने भी कटघरे में खड़े करने की कोशिश करे, चाहे वो रफाल का विषय हो, चाहे अन्य मुद्दे हो, जो लोग डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस और सत्यता पे विश्वास करते हैं, सत्य की ही जीत होती है।
The Union Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers has taken up several initiatives to reduce India's dependency on import of fertilizers and make India Atmanirbhar by adopting the Make in India initiatives. Speaking to AIR News in Bengaluru, the Union Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Bhagwant Khubra, has informed that introduction of nano urea and increasing fertilizers production within the country has helped reduce the country's dependency on import of fertilizers.
देश के अंदर 6 यूरिया प्लांट बंद पड़े हुए थे, उसको चालू करने का काम मोदी जी का सरकार किया है और नैनो यूरिया देश के अंदर संशोधन होकर के आज कमर्शियल प्रोडक्शन भी हुआ है और उसका उपयोग अपना फार्मर्स भी कर रहे हैं। ऐसे ही आने वाले दिनों में नैनो डीएपी भी हम लोगों का संशोधन में अभी चल रहा है, उसका भी अच्छा सफल प्रयोग हो रहा है, उसके अंदर भी हम लोग आत्मनिर्भर हो जाएंगे। इसके अलावा अदर कॉम्प्लेक्स फर्टिलाइजर के अंदर भी हमारा उत्पादन बढ़े, इस ढंग का भारत सरकार का अनेक पॉलिसी लेकर के आए हुए।
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Bharat Matar puja bedi tale futeche jeshe chatodar nivedita name e jagot jane Bharat bhutal hi matra.
28th October is the birth anniversary of the revolutionary and social activist Sister Nivedita. Born as Margaret Elizabeth Noble in Ireland on October 28, 1867, she belonged to a family of revolutionaries. Her grandfather, John Noble, father, Samuel Richmond, and her maternal grandfather, Hamilton, were in the forefront of the Irish freedom struggle.
After completing her college education, she took to teaching for 10 years from 1884 to 1894. Sister Nivedita met Swami Vivekananda in 1895 in London and travelled to Kolkata in 1898. She became Swami Vivekananda's disciple, who gave her the name Nivedita, meaning dedicated to God, when he initiated her into the vow of Brahmacharya on the 25th of March, 1898.
During May to October 1898, Sister Nivedita went on a tour of Almora and Kashmir region, accompanying Swami Vivekananda. In Kashmir, she observed how the British government refused permission to the Maharaja to hand over a piece of land to her guru to set up a mutt and a Sanskrit college. She realized that the emancipation of India could be achieved only by putting an end to the British rule.
In March 1899, when plague raged in Kolkata, Sister Nivedita organized a group of young men and engaged herself in relief operations. She was seen in every slum in Bagh Bazar area with a broom in her hand, cleaning the streets. In the middle of June 1899, Nivedita left for England. Later, she went to America on a lecture tour with a view to raise funds for her school.
During her visit to Boston, she met Bipin Chandrapal. When Sister Nivedita returned to England, she had to face the vile propaganda of British imperialists. But this only kindled the revolutionary spirit in her. In 1902, she came back to India. Upon her arrival in Chennai, she was accorded a grand reception, during which she proclaimed, "The people of India are fully competent, and no outsider has the right to advise or interfere in their affairs."
Her speech won her admiration, but aroused the anger of the British, who blacklisted her. The Nivedita Girls' School in Kolkata, run by her, was a brilliant example to nationalist institutions all over the country. Sister Nivedita refused to take government aid for the school. She introduced Bande Mataram in the daily newspapers of her school at a time when singing of the patriotic song in public was an offence. She also introduced Swadeshi and the spinning wheel in the school.
In 1902, when Viceroy Lord Curzon appointed the University Commission to strangulate the national education system, Sister Nivedita came to the forefront. In protest, Against the move from 1906 to 1907, she remained busy with her journalistic work.
Besides writing editorials for the publication Prabuddha Bharat, she was also contributing to journals like Sandhya, The Dawn and New India. In 1907, she left for England to set a favourable atmosphere for the Indian independence through meetings and interviews with British parliamentarians and writings in English journals. Sister Nivedita organized the publication of revolutionary journals from outside India and arranged for their secret distribution in India. She also organized Indian revolutionaries scattered abroad.
When Sister Nivedita returned to India in 1909, most of her associates were in jails. She passed away on 13th October 1911 at the age of 43 in Darjeeling. Her memorial is located on the way to Victoria Falls of Darjeeling with these words inscribed in her epitaph. Here lies Sister Nivedita, who gave her all to India. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In the T20 World Cup, Sri Lanka will take on Australia in their Super 12 match in Dubai at 7:30 p.m. today. Yesterday, Namibia defeated Scotland by 4 wickets in a Super 12 match at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium, Abu Dhabi, to keep its dream run alive in the tournament. In another encounter, England put on a clinical display with both the bat and the ball to beat Bangladesh by 8 wickets in a Super 12 match.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have a mainly clear sky. Mumbai also will have a mainly clear sky. Chennai is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky. Jammu also will have a mainly clear sky. Leh too is likely to witness mainly clear sky. Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky. Muzaffarabad will have a mainly sunny day. Visakhapatnam will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The city observed minimum temperature of 26 degrees and the maximum will be around 33 degrees. Bengaluru will have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Tiruvananthapuram will have a generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Delhi schools and colleges to reopen for all from November 1st, even as the online option is to stay, writes the Asian Age. Schools will ensure not more than 50% students are called, reports the Hindustan Times. Delhi's 6-0 survey shows more than 90% of the city's population has some form of protection from SARS-CoV-2, reports the Hindustan Times. China's new boundary law has India worried, reads the headline in the Tribune. India asks China to avoid actions that can impact bilateral pacts, writes the Pioneer. In signal to China, India tests 5,000-kilometer range Agni 5, reports the Times of India. The centre has proposed amendments to a 1969 law that would enable it to be a parallel repository of birth, death database at the national level, reports the Hindu. And finally, the centre has said that small LPG cylinders can soon be bought from ration shops, reports the Pioneer.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for maintaining better balance between economy and ecology and climate sustainable lifestyle at 16th East Asia Summit. Also to attend ASEAN India Summit today. Prime Minister to embark on a 5-day visit to Italy and UK tonight to attend G20 Summit and World Leaders Summit of COP26. India denounces China's land boundary law, says unilateral decision can adversely impact bilateral ties. India successfully test-fire surfaced ballistic missile Agni 5. Government to launch mega door-to-door vaccination drive, Har Ghar Dastak next month to speed up COVID inoculation. India's vaccination coverage crosses 104 crore mark, recovery rate improves to 98.19%. Finance Ministry asks all ministries to clear Air India's dues. And in T20 World Cup cricket, Sri Lanka to take on Australia in their Super 12 match in Dubai this evening. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.